If you're wondering if my vision is actually impaired or if these are just blue light glasses, you would be absolutely... Before we get started on this whole one angle rant to the camera, I would like to ask you to please take a moment to subscribe if you have not already, because it helps out a lot. So we're on the bed today, just chilling. Not the best framing, not the best background, but I feel like that's maybe better for this kind of topic and this kind of video. I'm gonna take these off. It's too orange. Everything's too orange. Okay. I promised that, once I graduated or was about to graduate college, that I would make a video like this, because I think when I was fresh out of high school and trying to make a college decision, it was probably it ranks among one of the most stressful and anxious times of my life. And I think a video like this would have definitely helped 18-year-old me a lot. So here I am making it. So if you're thinking about going to college as a creative and you're browsing YouTube trying to make sense of this decision, you come across two types of videos, right? The first type is Gary V kind of personalities being you don't need to go to college, you just wake up and grind and you will succeed, it doesn't matter, college is a scam. That's one genre. I'm not saying Gary's that intense all the time, but some people are. And then there's another genre that's well, NYU has this facility, but Pratt has this facility, and one school has these connections, and this art school has better internships. I'm that's equally unhelpful as the first kind of video, right? They're just two extremes of the same conversation. I'm here to give you my thoughts on two things. One, if you're a creative, should you go to college? And two, my experience in the middle ground of this conversation that we're having, which is going to college for something creative, but not at a college that's necessarily known for that thing, not an art school. So starting off with the first thing, should you go to college if you're creative? Now, one thing I want to make you very certain of is that there's no objective decision tree that you can use here to make that decision, right? The answer is that it depends on you. But I'm not gonna leave you hanging there. So I think there is some kind of merit to the Gary V-esque portion of the discussion, because college is really, really expensive. And for something like a creative field, people are way more interested in your work than your degree. I recently had a friend from the UK ask me if she should come to New York City to pursue a master's in some kind of fashion photography at Tisch for $80,000 a year. And my answer to her was, I don't think you should, because A, that's a lot of money, and B, with something like photography, now photographers, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but with something like photography, I don't think you're necessarily going to score a gig or a job because people see Tisch or Pratt or something like that on your resume. I think people care way more about what you shot than where you went. You could have graduated from Tisch and still be a really bad photographer, and you could have not went to school at all and take amazing photos, and flip those scenarios, that could be possible too. But I don't think you are gonna get the photography job of your dreams because it says Tisch on your resume. Now, this is where it comes down to you individually. If you can look at yourself objectively in the mirror and honestly say the script is here. I'm gonna read this part verbatim because it's a lot, but I have a work ethic where I will take photos every day. I will get better at my craft. I'll aggressively grow my Instagram. I'll reach out to anyone who needs a shoot and do my best to make connections. I'll make a LinkedIn. I'll do weddings. I'll do concerts. I'll do anything. As long as I can constantly keep taking photos and live off of it, I'm motivated to work at this until it works for me, and I'm interested in absolutely nothing else. If that kind of language appeals to you and you feel like you are that kind of person, honestly, then yeah, maybe you're an example of someone who does not need college that much, because you're gonna be able to be sustainable on your own without it. However, on the other side of this discussion is the fact that college is more than the knowledge. In fact, for a creative person, I would argue that the knowledge that you gain at college is probably the least important part of the experience, in my opinion. Because quite frankly, everything is online. Everything.
Knowledge.
But what college does provide, namely, is structure, right? You're forced to do a little bit of work every day. You have professors to answer to. You have assignments to turn in that push your creativity. You're getting graded on that. You're motivated to, keep your grades up so that you keep your scholarship or whatever. You don't get kicked out of the school. You know what I'm saying? There's a structure and there is an environment that is pushing you to work on yourself. So college would force someone who isn't that first type of rise and grind kind of person to become at least some version of it, right, in order to survive. And that's okay, because a lot of people do need that. It's very helpful. I find it super helpful as well. So if you're the type of person who can look at yourself and honestly say that you need structure, then congrats, college is for you. That's all you need to know. Camera died. Whee! Okay, anyway, continuing. Other benefits of college include new social life, professorial connections, maybe an easier time getting an internship based on the college name, access to professional gear. You know, there's some other stuff, some other goodies that come on top of structure, but in my opinion, structure is probably the best thing that college gives you. So at the end of the day, I think as a creative, you can look at college as kind of like Uber Eats. You can pay for delivery and have the food brought to you, or you can go pick up the food yourself, even though it's kind of a pain in the ass and a little more difficult. And so that's kind of the dichotomy we have here. If you're not gonna go to college, you're gonna have to go get your own food a lot, like metaphorically speaking. But if you're gonna go to college and you're gonna pay to go to college, a lot of the opportunity and structure and good things that you would have to do on your own are more easily brought to you and more easily accessible, if that makes sense. Now I was fortunate enough to look at this metaphorical decision tree of Uber Eats and be so indecisive about it that I just decided to go as a safety thing, like just in case. And I realized that I am in a privileged position to be able to do that. But yeah, just letting you know, what I did was kind of based out of indecision. And that's okay too. My indecisiveness is a perfect segue into the second part of this video, which is going to college for a creative thing, but not at a creative school. I am someone who did this. In fact, I went to a tech school. So kind of the complete opposite of an art school for something that was an art kind of thing. I have a bachelor's, I'm going to get a bachelor's of arts in music technology. So it's very much an artistic program. So my experience was pretty interesting to say the least. The College of Arts and Letters at Stevens, that's where I went, is very small because Stevens by nature is an engineering school, right? But I think you can extrapolate my findings and what I tell you here to a lot of other schools, because if you go to major in something creative at a non-art school, most likely that humanities department or that art department will be pretty small. So what are the benefits of this? Well, I think for one, perspective, right? You and everyone else, since, you know, you're most likely earning like a bachelor's of arts and not like a BFA, because a BFA is usually like an art school thing. But you know, you get perspective because you have to take all these general electives with every other major under the sun. Like I had a very communal experience coming from high school and having to try and remember high school calculus with every other kind of major as we took like Calc 1, Calc 2, Calc 3, like, and that experience alone brought a lot of people into my life that I did not expect from different majors, different backgrounds, and I thought that was cool. It put a nice variety of people into my life pretty early in my college career. And you gain that perspective not just with the people you meet in the classes, but also the professors too. I think one of the weirdest but coolest relationships that I made at college was with Alex Wellerstein. Now, who's that? He is America's top nuclear history expert, which is super random, but the way Stevens works is that everyone has to take a freshman writing class. And he was running my freshman writing class, and the theme of his class was tragedies in humanity. So it was just all really, really sad shit. But it was a very, very interesting class, and we actually ended up like connecting and doing research over the summer for a few summers, and it was very cool and unexpected because it wasn't a music class or anything like that, but it was still something I was really interested in, because if you have the right professor, they can make anything interesting. And that writing class I took, that general like humanities course, probably be something I would have never taken if I went to go do something like a BFA in songwriting at Berkeley. But circling back to that first point about the department being small, like an art department or a music department being small, I think that's really great in a lot of ways. The entirety of the Stevens like humanities college, since that in itself is just also really small, because again it's a tech school, it is really small and it is really close. It's kind of like our own little high school, I guess, which you could love or hate. But you know, when anyone ever needs help on anything, like, oh, I need a song for this, I need a visual for that, I need this for this, like, you know, we all know who to reach for. I think it's a super important element of college is connections and collaborative work. Now you might feel like you would get like a similar version of this just with whatever clique or group of friends you would form in college at an art school. And you might be right. I'm not gonna go ahead and say that like art school kids are mean and you would never find a group of people who would want to do things with you. I'm sure you would. But I think there also might be an element of competition going on there. Again, can't confirm, but I'm just guessing. Because everyone around you is doing like the exact same thing or something similar, and everyone's applying for the same jobs at the end of the day, and I feel like it could get competitive. I like the small community because I did not feel 1 ounce of competition at all, because we're so small. Like nobody's that cutthroat about it. Everyone's just doing the best they can. And you know, I've only experienced love and support from the Stevens humanities community as a whole. And for someone like me who came in not super advanced with music, that was really important to me because it encouraged me to like push myself and still be optimistic even if I wasn't getting like a certain theory concept or a certain sound recording concept. Like, it was never negative. So in a lot of ways, I like the middle ground of art degree at a non-art school. But there are some drawbacks, right? We can all probably agree that we're missing out on some better equipment, right? Because we're not as largely funded as an engineering department. Probably missing out on some higher profile connections. Like, none of our professors are like in the Grammy Hall of Fame or anything like that, but there are some really cool ones. And maybe you're also missing out on some more like advanced and focused classes. Like, obviously if you went to a school and got a BFA in sound recording, you're definitely gonna know more about sound recording than me. I've only taken 4 classes on it over the course of 2 years, and I loved it, and I'm pretty confident what I can do with it, but it wasn't focused on sound recording for 4 years. For me though, getting that specialized, like getting a BFA in one aspect of music, was a little intimidating for me. So I was comfortable taking a step back and getting a BA in something that was more all-encompassing of the many dimensions of music and figuring out what I liked from there. So you might be wondering, how did this end up for me? Well, I can't really tell you in terms of any like objective numbers. I can't be like, got 20 job offers last week, because I have not graduated yet. But I can tell you in terms of satisfaction that I feel like I'm pretty happy with my choice. Like, I would choose the degree I chose again. I'm definitely at least mediumly versed in many areas of music. And I like that because, you know, it turns out, as I've learned, that when you work on one area of music, like orchestration or sound recording or something, or music theory, a lot of the other fields will help you understand the specific one you're working on. So that's cool, and I was okay with that. And on top of that, I never felt any like super hard pressure to do anything like crazy amazing. Like, I never felt like I had to produce something like Mozart would. I never felt like I had to like make $1 million mix or anything like that. I kind of more just felt encouraged to like explore and learn and see what I liked and didn't like. And that is more conducive to making someone want to learn more, in my opinion. And because of that very open, encouraging environment, I would say I made a lot of connections in that program, and even outside of that program, because I had the energy to still be social after it all. So take that as you will. I'm not saying that going to a non-art school and doing an art major is the best option. I just think I have not really seen any videos about that kind of experience. I have not seen anyone talk about it, and I think it would actually be a great option for a lot of people, you know, because they see art school or you don't need school, just grind, like, and there are so many shades of gray in between. And that's what this video is to let you know. I was initially going to do a whole college review about Steven specifically, but this video is definitely already way too long. If you want to see a Stevens Institute of Technology specific review, I might do that later if you're specifically interested in that, comment below. But also, if you need any advice, or if you're just looking for a second opinion because, you know, no one in your life is like in these kinds of fields or interested in these kinds of things, please drop a comment, because I want to help you. I genuinely, this is the point of the video. Like, I really just want to help people who were in my position and need just a little bit of guidance. So let me know. All right, I think that's been it. I hope you enjoyed the bed setting. I don't think I'll ever do this again. This is super uncomfortable. And I'll see you in the next one. It's done. Ah.